Video of Andrew McGann leaving the courtroom this morning and arriving after a short hearing. Coming up, 5 News reporter Emily Moss will tell us what happened inside. And protests overnight turned into chaos in Minneapolis as an ICE agent shot a migrant. More on the investigation by state authorities. But thank you so much for joining us here on your 5 News at noon. I'm Tiffany Lee here with meteorologist Noah Simmons. Hopefully you're off to a good start. I guess they're kind of midday at this point, right? On that lunch break. I'm confused on my times. But one thing is for sure, it is cold, but it feels a lot better than this time yesterday.
It does. Because we have some more sunshine, lighter winds. Also, our winds are kind of out of the southwest too. Not kind of, they are out of the southwest. So I think that does help with a lot of people out there. It is still cold, mind you. Let's kind of jump right into what we're seeing out there. And really, we got to look at our watches and warnings. This is kind of something I don't always start with, but it kind of gives you a little roadmap on what we're going to be seeing here in our weather over the next couple of days. Actually, look at Florida here. Kind of see some of those dark purples out there. Those are actually freeze warnings as far south as Tampa. We're going to be getting in on some of that cold here. A lot of the eastern United States getting on that cold. Some pink. These are some red flag warnings in West Oklahoma. We're going to have a little bit of fire danger for Friday and Saturday. And then this yellow area, those are high wind warnings. We're going to be getting in on some of that stronger wind. Maybe not necessarily a high wind warning, but definitely some breezy conditions there just in time for your Friday and your Saturday. Much lighter winds, though, right now. Satellite and radar shows high pressure kind of dominating our weather right now. You kind of see those winds out of the southwest. We had a little bit of clouds earlier this morning, but those have since kind of dissipated and moved their way southward. See lots of blue sky right now. Temperatures a bit colder, though. 40 degrees in Fayetteville, 41 in Ozark, and maybe a few upper-level cirrus clouds there in Bentonville sitting on their 35 degrees. Overall, it's going to be a pretty typical mid-January day, expecting those highs into those middle to upper 40s for northwest Arkansas and lower 50s for the River Valley. Under that mostly sunny sky, winds do pick up tomorrow. We're talking about some colder air for this week, and we'll get a good check on that here in the next few minutes.
All right, thanks for that. No, right now we have new details in the Andrew McGann case after his latest hearing this morning. McGann is accused of killing Clinton and Kristen Brink at Devil's Den State Park. 5 News reporter Emily Moss is live outside of the courtroom with more.
Good afternoon, Tiffany. That's right. The hearing this morning for Andrew McGann was actually very short. It was only around 2 minutes total in length. And since we can't take cameras into the courtroom, I can describe to you what he was like in that courtroom. He was very present, coherent when the judge was asking him about if he understood what was going on in the case. He also had a different appearance once again for this case. We're going to show you some video now of what he looked like as he left the courtroom. We spoke to the Washington County prosecutor Brandon Carter after the hearing, who was under a court order for most details pertaining to this case. He can only confirm next dates and that this case will take a long time in courts, as is standard for capital murder cases. During the hearing, he told the judge their discovery process was largely completed, but they continue to file what they find, as they did just earlier this week.
The state has an obligation to turn over every piece of its file in every case we prosecute. In every single case this office prosecutes, we will continue to turn over discovery as we're required to by law.
Now, aside from McGann's confidence in proving that he understood what was going on in the case and the filings that were already previously set, they also issued their next hearing that would be on April 1st, 2026 at 8 a.m. However, the defense also filed a continuance, so it's possible that that meeting date could end up getting moved. We will just have to wait and see. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Emily. Well, we are still working to learn the cause of a fire that happened last night on Fayetteville's Dixon Street. We're
right here in the parking lot behind Doe's Eat Place in Fayetteville. Police say that the call came in just after 11 Wednesday night. And speaking with an employee of a nearby restaurant, he says that behind me, there used to be 2 sheds. Now there's only 1. Here's video Wednesday night from Dixon Street of that fire. An orange hue shown behind Doe's Eat Place between Bordino's and JJ's Grill. Patty Mulford, a public information officer with the Fayetteville Fire Department, says the fire appears to have started in a separate storage unit behind Doe's Eat Place. Video here shows damage to the rear of the building due to smoke as well as flame impingement. The good news, Fayetteville police say there were no reported injuries from Wednesday night's fire. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Jacob. Well, we are learning more about Cave Springs' issue with the city's unpaid federal taxes. Nearly $100,000 in unpaid taxes was uncovered by an audit, on top of another more than $100,000 that the city already paid. Those lapses weren't limited to taxes. A council member confirmed at one time that police cars were briefly uninsured because an insurance bill was not paid on time. City officials say that the audit is still ongoing and that they expect additional findings in the coming weeks. Well, it's a developing story. There's been another shooting involving ICE agents in Minneapolis. A Venezuelan man was shot in the leg. The Department of Homeland Security says it happened after he allegedly attacked an officer with a shovel. The shooting prompted a new round of protests and a threat of military deployment by President Trump. Lana Zach is there with the latest.
Overnight, federal agents and protesters facing off again after an ICE officer shot a Venezuelan migrant in the leg. According to DHS, the officer acted in self-defense following an attack by the man and two other people using a snow shovel and broom.
This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in.
Earlier, Governor Tim Walz had urged Minnesotans to protest peacefully and to document what he called ICE agents' atrocities.
They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement.
This is the second person shot by ICE agents in a week.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
The mission that we've been told about for over a year is that it's to get the worst of the worst. I can tell you that Renee was the best of the best.
On Tuesday, 6 federal prosecutors stepped down amid pressure, sources say, to treat Good's killing as an assault on the ICE officer. Now the family is pursuing its own separate investigation.
The thought that there is only a one-sided investigation is really not palatable to the family, nor should it be to the government or the American people.
President Trump posted on social media threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act if local politicians don't do more to control protesters. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions announced its own investigation into this most recent shooting. Lana Zach, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Well, U.S. Southern Command has released video showing American forces seizing another oil tanker in the Caribbean. The sixth vessel taken as part of an expanded effort to enforce sanctions on Venezuela's oil trade. The action comes as President Trump is set to meet with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House. The administration has signaled a possible shift in relations with officials tied to the Maduro regime, even as critics warn against trusting leaders previously sanctioned for corruption. The meeting underscores growing questions about Venezuela's political future and the direction of U.S. policy. While at the same time, tensions remain over President Trump's push to acquire Greenland, a self-governing territory of Denmark. The president has framed the issue as a matter of U.S. national security, arguing Greenland is strategically important to counter Russia and China and to support a proposed missile defense system. Danish leaders say fundamental differences remain, insisting any cooperation must respect Greenland's sovereignty. Lawmakers in the U.S. have also pushed back, saying expanded security cooperation is possible without taking over the island.